How you doing? Today we're talking about a watch. I'm kind of excited about it. I bought it a while ago, and it's from a movie. Now, here's the thing about movie watches. I did a little video, I don't know, last week before, on a Timex that was worn by Jeff Bridges in the movie Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, one of my all-time favorite flicks. A little sideline here real quick. I would love to be doing movie reviews on this channel from time to time, or at least talking about some of my favorite flicks, because I notice things in movies that I also notice other people don't talk about. Just little details in the background are kind of my thing. At any rate, that brings us to this movie. Wes Anderson flick, The Life Aquatic, Steve Zissou, played by Bill Murray. And in this movie, Bill Murray wears a Vostok watch, which is a Russian watch, and this is the watch. This is the exact watch, not the exact one he wore in the flick, just the same model. It's a funny thing because I had seen this watch before with this dial, and we're gonna, get over here. We're gonna do some overhead shots of it in a moment. Excuse the mess. If you don't know, I make my own watch bands, and this is my workstation here in the corner of my apartment. And it's just in a disarray right now because I've been making bands. And I put a couple hours a day into making bands until they're all done. So, yeah. And it just reminds me of Paul Giamatti in the Crumb movie, the Robert Crumb movie, where he met this woman through, back then it was snail mail, and she comes over to meet him for the first time in his house, and they walk in. And he's like, I was going to clean up, but, why fake it? Why put on airs or something, he says. This is real as real gets here. So the reason I wanted to do the video on this watch is I keep seeing reviews on this, and I'm reading things about it where people are not stoked about it. They don't like these Vostok watches. They're quirky. I own two of them. We're going to talk about both of them a little bit here today. One came on the nylon, and the Steve Zissou version came on a bracelet, which is not a great bracelet. And in the movie, he wears it on this style strap, pretty much this exact strap, I think. So I modded this, and I'll show you how I did that in a moment, too. But the really interesting thing about this watch that I'm going to show you is there's a quick set feature to change this date that it seems like people don't understand exists. And so right now, I'm just going to quickly mention, it seems to me like a lot of the people doing watch videos, and watch videos are new to me. I've only been doing them for a couple of years now. And this channel's not dedicated to watch videos. It's everything I'm into, including watches. But I've been wearing a watch since the 1970s. All right? Back then, the watches were not as well made as they are today. I mean, unless you're talking high-end Swiss Rolex watches. Although, I think, and I could be wrong here, I'm not right about everything, I could be wrong here, but I think that if you took most watches from the 1960s or up to 1970, 71 or so, and then you compared them to what you could buy now from an AliExpress site, a Chinese-made watch, let's say a diver, that's got a sapphire crystal and 200-meter water resistance and a reliable Japanese automatic movement or a quartz movement, screw down crown and everything else, these newer watches coming out of China are way better spec and way more reliable and way tougher than any watch in 1970. It's a bold statement, but I stand by it. I'm not into buying all these Chinese watches. I did that for a short moment of time. I'm really not doing that anymore. Unless it's some weird, like really rare micro brand thing like this Artigo that I picked up that I'm making a band for right now, which is a really cool watch, and I'll do more on this when I make the band for it. That's just super cool. At any rate, we'll get back to this. So what I like about these Russian watches is that they are kind of made the way they were made, watches were made. If you know anything about the Blancpain, the 50 Fathoms, the original watch, 1953. I think it was about the first commercial dive watch you could buy in the store. There was the Zodiac Seawolf. Rolex came out with their watch in like 1954. But I do think that Blancpain was the first watch you could go to a dive shop and buy. And what's interesting about the Blancpain was, and I'll show this to you with this watch, because this watch has the same system. It's a two-piece rear case. So there's the centerpiece that slides down over a rubber washer or gasket, and then there's an outer ring that squishes that down without twisting on that gasket. Case design improved after that to where now there's a groove that gasket fits in, and you can screw the back on, and that's fine. But this watch uses that same system. And these Vostok watches have these crazy, really thick acrylic, I hope this is focusing for you, domed, top hat domed crystals, and they've been tested down to depths of 500 meters or more before they fail. So for a relatively inexpensive watch, and by the way, these watches up to about 5 years ago you could buy for $70. Now they're $170, sometimes more. People are kind of catching on to it. There's little quirky things about them. They have bi-directional bezels, which isn't great. There's a wobbly thing with the crown. There's a reason for that. You know, I don't know. I think, and I know, because I've worn both of these for a week or more at a time, and both of them have kept accurate time for me. I haven't had any issues with them. This watch, when I got it, there was some schmutz on the crystal, including a couple minor scratches. It was brand new, and it's little. They come in these plastic cases. The Steve Zissou version came on this bracelet, which is really not good. I mean, the first thing you want to do is take it off this jingle, jangle, jingle. I mean, this is almost as bad as a Seiko bracelet. It's worse. But it comes on this, it's not a great bracelet. The first thing you want to do is take it off of there. At any rate, the first one I bought, which by the way, look at this dial. You'll see it again in a minute, but look how cool that is. Very vintagey, like very 1950s, you know. Actually, in a way, that does kind of remind me of the Seawolf dial, if I'm being honest. Anyway, when I got this, it was advertised as the bezel didn't turn, even though it was new. And so I took it apart, and I popped the bezel off, and I cleaned it out, and I lubed it, and it works perfect now in both directions. Pardon me. And I brought it over to the watch shop, and they polished the crystal, and it's perfect. So it's very cool. Let's go ahead and look at the specs on these with the calipers, and show you some close-ups, and how to do this, and how to set the time on this Steve Zissou watch, and also how I modded this band. I have to get a tool out for that. And so don't go anywhere. It'll get more interesting. All right, here it is, the Steve Zissou Vostok Russian watch with that really cool domed top hat crystal. It's acrylic, so you can polish it. It does have a date feature. We're going to get to that in a moment. It's 40 millimeters across. It's about, I think it's about 13, 14 millimeters thick. It has a 7 millimeter crown, which I love. But the lug width is only 19 mils. Now this band, which is a pretty good representation of what, as far as I can tell, what Bill Murray's wearing in the movie, was a 20 mil band. And so what I did here was, I used my skiving knife, which cuts real well. This is for skiving leather, so you can thin up your leather. You can see how thin it is here, how fat it is there. I got to do that by hand with this thing. So what I did was I took that and I just cut the band here a little thin on each side. I removed about 1 millimeter, which is right here. These are the parts. I saved them for you that I cut off. And apologies for this phone changing focus constantly. So that's what I trimmed off on the band, and I got it real clean. You'd be hard pressed to see that. So that's how you want to do it. I've bought watches before where the bands have been trimmed and just like, it's like they did it with a hacksaw or something. It's just horribly done. But with this one, I did a pretty neat job. But keep in mind, I make things for a living. I'm pretty good with tools in my hands and all that other good stuff. So this has a winding movement. It is a automatic movement. So it has a rotor. The rotor spins as you wear it on your arm and keeps it wound. Okay? But here's the quirky thing about this watch. You unlock it. It has a screw-down crown. I'm going to pull this out of the way because maybe that's what's screwing up the focus on this. And it'll pop open. From this position, you can wind it. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Maybe it'll stop with that. So from this position now you can wind it. But when you wind it, you have to pull out away from the watch a little bit. Because if you don't, it'll thread itself, just like it did there. It'll thread itself back into the case. So you have to pull out on a little bit and you can wind it. And you can feel, I love it, you can feel the tension of that spring. It's very robust. You can just tell. Okay. Now, the crown, the head of this, on this crown here is wobbly. I'm going to pull it all the way out for the date adjust, okay? I'm going to make sure it's unlocked. Now it's all the way out, and you can see that this crown wobbles. The reason for that, can you see that? The little, see that? It does that, they say, so that when you have the crown out, if you whack something, or if you drop it, it doesn't snap the crown stem. Other watches have crown guards, I guess, for that reason. Now from here, you can see you can adjust the date. Now I adjusted it to the 13th, okay? Quick set is you're going to go back, watch the 13, you see that jump? Comes back. At that point you can come forward and watch it. Jumps to 14. Go past a little bit more. Come back again. Watch the 14. See that? Whoop, jump back down, so back to 8 o'clock. Come forward. Boom, 15. So that is your quick set date. Let's go and see just if it'll go back from here. It probably will. Well, it didn't jump back. So I think you got to go a little bit more forward. Oh, it did. It went to 16. So better to go forward a little bit. 3 o'clock in the morning. Jump back. Watch the 16. I guess you don't have to go that far. And let's see if it jumps to 17. It didn't. So it is quirky. I noticed that. But for the most part, that does tend to work. Here's the thing. Once you set the time and you go to push it back in a little bit, you can't wind it anymore. It's still stuck on this position. So what I do is I push it back in and I set the crown tight. I lock it in tight. Then I undo it. And I don't pull it out to set it. But from here, now I can wind it again. So that's the quirkiness of this watch. You pull it out. You're not pulling it to a setting. Like if I pull it where it clicks, it just clicked, I can adjust the time now. If I push it back, what happens is the crown hits the threads and it won't allow you to wind the watch. So you have to thread it back in all the way. All right, now it's locked. It's watertight now. Now when I unscrew it again, all right, now it's loose. Now I can wind it. You understand? Hope you guys are understanding this. That's just the quirky nature of this particular watch. Now, with this other one, this does not have a date feature. I really like the look of this watch. Again, they both have a bi-directional bezel. It's just friction. There's nothing fancy about it. Again, 19mm lugs. Similar thing. Now, this watch has the crown guards. However, I'm going to pull it out like I'm going to set the time. Same thing with the crown. Wonky crown. And again, with this, if I push it in, it's the same problem. It won't wind. You have to screw it all the way in, undo it, and now it'll wind. It's a very strong spring. You can feel it. So that's the main thing I wanted to show you. Let me open the back of this. Let me get a tool out and just show you how the two-piece back works. Okay, so I used the tool to loosen it up, and now I'm just going to use this, which is the wrong tool to use. Put some more light on the subject here. There we go. So I'll just spin this backwards. Keep in mind, this is brand new, so these threads aren't worn in nicely. There we go. So there's the ring. You see that there? And you see how I kept my thumb on the center? So that's the outer ring. And then you can see this centerpiece. It registers. There's two little nubs that register right through the case. You know what the problem is here. I might have to I might have to pull the band to get that out. So I'm not going to take it off right now, but that's how it works. If I was to pull this off, there's actually another little case piece in there, and then the rubber O-ring. And to put this all back together, you just lay this back on here, and then this outer ring screws down, and that's what actually, or tightens down with a screw method, a threads, and that'll hold that back on, and again, that's what gives it the water resistance. Keep in mind, you know, screw down crown is good. It's not only water resistant that it's good for, but it's also dust resistant. And in my world, dust resistance is the main thing. And again, just a bi-directional friction crown. This one doesn't actually feel all that great. And, you know, this is one of those watches that before I knew it was the Steve Zissou watch, I would see it from time to time, and I just thought that that dial was so corny. It's just so corny. With the ship's wheel and the anchor. But because he wore it in the movie, and if you watch the movie, I don't know if you guys are fans of this flick or not, but you really should check it out, The Life Aquatic. It's such a cool, fun, quirky, bizarre movie. It's well acted. It's a comedy, but there's action adventure in it. They do this funny thing with the fish where it's obviously not real. I suggest maybe a mind-altering substance or get a little buzz on and then watch this. It's amazing. It's so much fun. You notice new things in it every time you watch the movie. Having said that, then you understand why this is the watch he's wearing. Notice the rope around the outer edge of the dial. Very nautical dial. Again, it has the anchor. It has the Russian writing on the dial here. I don't know why this doesn't want to focus. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more. The pips around the edge and the hands are loomed, as well as the red second hand. Everything is painted. There are applied metal indices that are faceted, so they do catch the light. You can see that there. So as you wear this on your wrist and you turn it around, you move it around, the light, the sun, or whatever will hit those little... The indices are those little metal markers there. Second hand just passed it. But the rest of it's painted on there. That is Russian for amphibia, just above the anchor. So there's the amphibia and there's the kamikansky or something. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The amphibias are the dive version, right? So these have a thicker acrylic crystal and are designed to go deeper. Now, I believe the kamikansky watches are made as tough as these, but in the early days they weren't. So if you wanted a real dive watch, you needed to buy this amphibia. Look at that distortion on that crystal. And, you know, I like them. I think it's a neat novelty, and I'm a weirdo. When I watch a movie, if I own the watch, I wear it when I'm watching the movie, right? Simple as that. It's just fun. It doesn't mean anything. Just a good time. And I bought this one originally because I was getting into the watches, and I kept seeing these Vostok watches pop up. And I wanted to own one, and I just scoured and scoured and scoured until I found one that had a really cool vintage vibe. And to me, it just doesn't... Let's change the hands around so we can get a better look at this dial here, what's printed on it. And we'll zoom in here for you. That's 31 joules, by the way. Again, amphibia. That blue second hand is pretty cool. You can see I've been wearing this, so it's a little bit beat up. And just a really, really neato. It's real keen, man. It's neato. Stainless steel case. That's another thing with the Kamikansky watches. I believe they were brass cases that were like chrome plated. But these are all stainless steel. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, it's really about the Steve Zissou Amphibia dive watch. Again, from the movie Life Aquatic. It's a fun movie. It's really a good time. Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, Angelica Houston. You can see them all here in the photo. And, of course, you got Owen Wilson, too, who's really, really funny in this movie. So... I will say we have Halloween coming up, and The Steve Zissou outfit to be like for Halloween is perfect, and I started looking at the pricing on them, and you could buy that blue outfit, but they're, you know, 50 to 85 bucks, and they're 100% polyester. I am not a polyester guy. I'm not going to spend the money on something I'm going to wear one time. But there is a point in the movie where he and Owen Wilson are wearing blue sweaters with the letter Z embroidered on it. And I would have that. That's cool. And buy a red hat and wear the watch, and you're golden. Keep in mind, my last name starts with a Z, so I'd wear that all the time. Anyhow, again, that is all. Have a great day. Be kind to one another. Hope you guys enjoyed this, got something out of it. And now you understand. These watches are quirky, but that doesn't make them bad. All right? Compared to a Seiko and something else that you may be used to, I understand how you don't like this. But it's like anything else. There's a learning curve. And once you figure that out, you're golden, man. You're golden. Have a great day.